So in the Bhagavatam, we have Daksha writing a prayer that's got some beautiful insights into it, and I want to share it with you and kind of talk about them a little bit. He says, "Our salutations to the Most High. Pure consciousness is thy nature. Thou art the ruler of Maya, the Lord of all beings. They know not thy divine nature, who live within the bonds of the gunas. Who can define thee, who art self-existent and self-luminous?" So it's really just talking about our ignorance about the divine and not being able to find him or find that divine nature, to become aware of consciousness in and of itself because of our own absorption in the gunas, in those three states we talked about yesterday, those three fundamental vibrations, the inertia, the frenetic or rajasic, and the balance between the two, the sattvic state. And so all things in creation have their creation based on the vibratory principles of these three gunas, these three elements in them. I don't find that all that important or all that interesting, just to know that we exist because of word, because of vibration. We know that from John in the Christian scriptures and certainly from the plethora of references in the Hindu scriptures. He says, "Objects seen know not the sense of sight. So that which is seen is unaware of the sense of sight." Now this is kind of interesting because we can be seen, but we're not aware of who it is that is seeing. See, so he's just drawing a very concrete example of this. "Nor does any man know the true seer." That's what he says. We are seeing, and we can see all of this, and we see ourselves, and so we place our body mind as ourself. Since we see it, we place our identify in the world of the seen. And yet the world of the seen is unaware of the seer. Does not know who the real seer is unaware of the instruments of seeing. He says, "Thou art the seer, omniscient, dwelling in the hearts of all." All right, so in the heart is where we have to go looking for this, interestingly enough, and even using that language starts us out on a left foot, since God is not going to be captured by mind or the senses. He's not going to be seen in that regard. He says, "We salute thee, you are Hamsa, the pure spirit. Your nature is revealed in deepest contemplation when the mind becomes absorbed in you and soars beyond all consciousness of name and form." Now, all consciousness of name and form, that would be an allusion to mind, really, because it is mind that breaks things into objects. It's mind that sees difference between different objects that are coming into it through the five senses. So this unity that we're observing already gets broken into at least five pieces coming in through the senses into the mind. And then the mind takes those five disparate pieces of information and creates new objects. And its job is to notice the difference between those objects and to form relationships between them, to draw relational lines between them. And that is what we call conventional knowledge. And that is not divine knowledge. Divine knowledge cannot come that way. And since we're always concerned about those things, we can't see the divine. So he's saying when the mind becomes absorbed in thee, that means the mind is placid and quiet because it's not seeing the different objects. It's not breaking things into pieces and trying to reconstruct the whole out of them. He says that when the mind goes beyond name and form, when it gives up any idea of thinking, because without name and form, the mind cannot think, it cannot process, it cannot do what we use it to do on a conventional basis. So we have to come to that place where the mind is silent, we're beyond the mind. He says, "As fire remains hidden in wood, so do you remain hidden in the body." So the potential, the pure potential, is divine within. And he lies there hidden until the mind stills and the heart is searched, and there he can be found, with the heart and intellect absorbed in thee, full love, going toward a single ideal, and the mind calmed, absorbed in this stillness, and turned into really a listening device more than an action device. He says, the wise find you in your hiding place. Shower your mercy upon us. You are the seer of yourself. You experience your own bliss. You control Maya, which brings forth this manifold universe. So you see that he is behind all of this, very much like the dreamer, the sleeper in the bed, is behind all of the dream, completely non-represented in the dream, not present in the dream. In the dream, you take a symbolic body, a symbolic point of reference as yourself and experience the whole dream. That dream would be Maya. And behind that dream, the divinity that we're talking about would be you, the sleeper, unaware of your true nature, and involved in the gunas, which means involved in the story of the dream that you're sleeping, that you're living through. You believe that dreamed entity, that identity in the dream, with its dream body, to be who you are, and in that you are trapped in the gunas, trapped in the story of the dream, and you are not able to see that which is watching the dream. You're not aware of who is really watching the dream, that it's not you, the dreamed, not you, the body in the story, but it's the sleeper who is containing the whole dream within itself, who is actually the watcher of the dream. But you are unaware of that. You do not see that. So you see how the dream is a perfect metaphor for what's being described here. He says, your power is infinite. Your form is universal. And again, we can use that dream sequence for that. You know, your power is infinite. Everything in that dream is created by you, maintained by you. Every story that's happening in that dream is of your own creation. Your every movement is your own volition. Everything in that dream is of you, the sleeper, even though you as the dreamed are subject to all of the dream as having control over it. You see, the reality is you are in charge of the dream. You are the one that has the dream within you. But not knowing that, you become subject to the dream and to all of its whims and wiles. Your form, universal. You are the soul in all beings and all things, just like in the dream. You see how wonderful this is. In the dream, everything is you. It's the single soul, the dreamer, you, the person sleeping in the bed. Everything in your dream, whether it's mountains, whether it's criminals, whether it's beauty, whether it's oceans, whether it's countries, all of it is composed only of you and being viewed as its dream role by the dreamed and not the dreamer. You are the cause and you are the effect, just like in the dream. You're doing both. The cause is imagined, created by you, the dreamer, and its effect is imagined and created by you, the dreamer. You are the work and you are the doer. Same explanation within that dream metaphor. You are the instrument, the action. You are the cause of all causes. You are all in all. There is nothing beyond or above thee. From thee all religions spring forth. You are the source of all scripture. You are the fountain of all knowledge. Yet none of these can fully reveal your infinite nature, for verily you are supreme. Infinite, absolute, impersonal, beyond all name and form art thou. You are the boundless ocean of bliss. As the formless ocean is affected by intense cold and molded into various shapes, so, he's talking about icebergs there, in the great ocean, when it gets cold, it takes a form, it takes a shape. And he's saying here that the devotion of the devotee, your love for the divine, and your projection of that highest ideal is what gives God form. And God takes that form to give you a handle to interact, to learn, to approach, to grow, and to understand, and eventually merge, of course, in the highest ideal. You do this through the intense love of your worshipers. You assume countless names and innumerable forms to gladden their hearts. Vouchsafe unto me that love out of your own infinite mercy. Goodness is God's form. Japam is the divine body. Prayers are the divine limbs. Tapas, or austerity, is the heart. Virtue is the mind. Sainthood is the vital energy. The divine is existence, knowledge, and bliss, absolute. So, a beautiful poem about the nature of the divine, and seeing it through the metaphor of the dream, it makes it a little bit less abstract, and maybe something that will help you in your meditations to still the mind and sense through implication this presence of your unchanging self, ever pure, ever free, ever blissful.